All right, everybody, this is Kai Pacho with the Weekly Pele Report. I got myself a new phone, so I hope this thing works. This is a astrological report for April 6th of 2022. Right now that moon is in Gemini, but by tomorrow she's going to move into Cancer, and we're going to have she's going to square the sun. 19 degrees, 24 minutes of Cancer over to the sun. 19 degrees, 24 minutes of Aries. Moving on. Mercury is moving on. And, you know, they're both coming up to Eris, the goddess of discord. Mercury is exactly conjunct Eris on Friday. The sun next Wednesday. We can talk a little bit about Eris. She used to go across the battlefield and enjoy the sight of the blood and all of the, the dead soldiers. And yeah, she really enjoyed battle. The sister of Ares, the god of war. And of course, the new moon was in the sign of Aries, and you know, as the moon goes into Cancer, she is going to square that sun and oppose Pluto up there in Capricorn before she moves on to Leo on Saturday, and finally Virgo by next Tuesday. So besides the movements of the moon and the sun moving through Aries, we also have, and this is probably the big one, what I want to be talking about today, a couple of things become exact this week. Yes, this week Saturn moves into an exact square with the moon's nodes. That is on next Monday, but within a degree. If we give it 1 degree, it's really from April 1st to the 11th. And we know that Mars was also there squaring, right, the moon's nodes. So this Saturn-Mars square to the moon's nodes is really big, and I want to be talking more about that. And at the same time, Jupiter comes into his exact conjunction with Neptune over there in the very late degrees of Pisces, the third decan, which is associated with Scorpio. Yeah. So these are the big things that I'd like to be talking to you about today. In the meantime, Mercury is just cruising along. And besides, you know, conjuncting with Eris, then it's going to square Pluto on Sunday. So, yeah, we've got a lot of different kinds of energies going on around here. I made it up to North Carolina here, and I thought, you know, it was the dry season in Costa Rica, and there was, you know, a lot of brown leaves and things, but here in North Carolina, it is very gray, very interesting landscape. So anyway, I'll find a little spot on the river here and talk at you. Okay, well, as usual, I'm not really quite sure what I'm going to say today. It's a bit of an emotional day for me. I have to say, this moon, coming through Gemini is aspecting, it's a sextile, the sun, Chiron, Mercury, trining Saturn, coming into, you know, square the Jupiter, Neptune, aspecting Mars. It's like the moon is hitting everything today. And this Mars and Saturn squaring her nodes. You know, the moon's nodes have this emotional depth also. And there's just a lot of things coming up. And the moon's nodes have to do, and Saturn has to do with karma. It has to do with emotional ties and bonds and relationships from past lives, as well as the North Node, new relationships that are pulling us forward into new forms of self-expression. So there is this, you know, this tear of, you know, between, letting go of the past in order to move forward into the future. And the Jupiter-Neptune can have a lot to do with confusion and just chaos and not being clear about what to let go of, what to hold on to, what is the past, what's the future, where am I going, what is this all about, where's the world going? I mean, it's just like so many things can just, climb up on top of each other. For me, I have to say that, I just lost, Bobby Klein was a good friend of mine, and he just passed away a short time ago, and now I've just found that another family member has been diagnosed with a short time to live, and there just seems to be so much cancer going on, in addition to the fatalities of war, in addition to the fatalities of this, pandemic. And there's a lot of loss going on right now, emotional ties, bonds, relationships, as well as income, jobs, security, what people have been holding on to and planning and looking forward to. There's just this whole kind of, it's a restriction, contraction. Saturn rules restriction, contraction, limitation, boundaries, and really how far can we go? Where should we set our sights? What goals are realistic versus fantasy? Will we ever, go back to normal, or what is the new normal look like? There's lots of questions going on right now. And it's really something to have this Jupiter-Neptune. Neptune is unlimited, infinite. Jupiter is faith, expansion, opportunity. So there is this Jupiter-Neptune that can be like, let's just forget it all, go have a drink, go watch a movie, escape all the depression and all of the news and all of the Saturn stuff going on in Aquarius now. In so many ways, we can see that from one perspective, Jupiter is expansion and Saturn is contraction, right? Jupiter is opportunity, Saturn is limitation. Jupiter is optimism, Saturn is pessimism. We can see these two polarities really going at odds with each other because they are both very strong right now. Saturn, the co-ruler of Aquarius, Jupiter, the co-ruler of Pisces, both in their own signs, right? In very powerful late degrees. The third decan of a sign, really brings up a lot. And of course, Pluto in the last degrees of Capricorn, Eris in the third decan of Aries. So much of this is this culmination of old energies and the removal, the release, the death, the endings, the closures of what we have known, of what we have relied on, of the people and the places and the jobs and the governments that have supported us. And it's like this movement towards that North Node in Taurus becoming self-sufficient. It's like the pressure, we're all getting squeezed, into, oh boy, I've got to do this all myself and all on my own, and I've got to be strong, and I see things going away, and I feel like I'm losing it. I mean, these are times where it's really important to not slide down the slippery slope. Yeah, there is a slippery slope. I do want to read to you the Sabian symbol for the degree of this Jupiter-Neptune. It's very familiar to me, so I think I've read this to you before, because maybe it was where Neptune stationed. But it is the 24th degree of Pisces. And of course, Jupiter and Neptune are there for like this whole week, this whole time period. And to me, this symbolizes a lot of what I bring forward in the mantra for today. That, let's not forget, we are a drop of water from the ocean of oneness, the law of one, where everything reflects and is part of everything else. In lakesh alakin, as Bobby Klein always used to say, yeah? I am another you. This even brings me to one of the songs that I could post down there in the, there'll be a link to it. But just consider this ocean of oneness, that we are all connected, we are all infinite spiritual beings, and then it evaporates. The sun hits it, right? And evaporation brings it up into the clouds of the ether in our astral bodies. And then those clouds condense and get tighter and tighter until we individualize. We become a single drop of rain. And that single drop of rain falls. We fall to the earth as an individual expression of the oneness, and we go splat. And, a whole bunch of us incarnate onto the planet. And what do? Look at that stream behind me, right? We gather together in little trickles and in little streams that become creeks, that become rivers. And those rivers make their way through waterfalls, through rapids, cutting through the dirt, dropping down, falling as waterfalls, crashing, banging, cutting their way through the earth, out to the delta, and finally back to the ocean. I mean, it's a long journey that we have, returning to oneness, returning to the ocean of love, of unity, of spirit, of infinity. So in the meantime, we're getting banged, right? And we're getting bumped, and we're just like letting go and moving on. And we need to release and let go and let go. South node of the moon in Scorpio, the sign of death, loss, betrayal, abandonment, all these emotions coming up of things that I've desired and I've wanted and I've worked hard for and I've held on to, and they mean so much to me. Possessions, relationships, bank accounts, reputations, ties, business partners, businesses. And this, it's just like everything is so temporary. It's the Maya, it's the illusion. And this is the Saturn realm. And we want to move into this Jupiter-Neptune realm. And this Jupiter-Neptune realm is one of spirit. It is one of the divine. It is one of the eternal. Not the temporary, the eternal. So our egos are temporary. These bodies are temporary. This culture, these politics, these wars, this is all so temporary. When we look at reincarnation and how our souls dip down as raindrops over and over and over. And then we evaporate up again and come in for another life and another experience. We are ancient. And when we tap into that ancient soul, it is how I am going to evolve in any environment, in any condition, in any external reality. Family, country, war or peace, single or in love, rich or poor. We come back in to evolve different strengths, different capacities, different soul qualities, ultimately learning infinite love, forgiveness, compassion, acceptance, and then we return back to Jupiter, Neptune, and Pisces, the infinite cosmic spirit that we came from. So listen to this degree, because it has a lot. What I really want to bring out is tapping into the authentic self. On a small island surrounded by the vast expanse of the sea, people are seen living in close interaction. No muzzles, no social distancing. They're in close interaction. This is our Jupiter-Neptune dream right now. Ow! The need to consciously accept one's own personal limitations in order to concentrate one's energies and to live a centered and fulfilled life. That actually sounds quite a bit like Saturn, right? You know? Accept our limitations, concentrate our energies, Mars, Saturn, and live a centered and fulfilled life. Boom. Get serious, get real. Every individualized person is a small island in the vast ocean of humankind. The ego fulfills a necessary function as it sets boundaries and gives a specific character to the consciousness. Within these boundaries, a complex interplay, linking and integrating the various aspects of the personal life, can operate constructively. In time, these ego boundaries can not only expand, but can become a zone of intense interchange between the inner and the outer, between the individual and the community, between each of us and the universe. Like good fences make good neighbors, right? You know, like the stronger we know ourselves, the stronger we really contain ourselves, the more able and the more intense our interactions can be with others. And that can be super deep and super fulfilling, as temporary as it is, because we're always moving on, just like that water. This fourth stage symbol tells us that the first duty of any man or woman is to be truly what he or she is as an individual. I could read that one again, right? It is our first duty to be true, to discover ourselves, to build ourselves, and to then be able to give fully of ourselves. So our first duty is our own inner work. It's our inner work is our first duty. And yeah, that's super powerful, you know. But this individual has a particular dharma, a place and function in a vaster whole. The island's inhabitants get subsistence from the sea, and in time learn to navigate this sea and interact with other islanders. And all eventually will come to realize their oneness within the whole earth, which includes everything. The return to oneness is the eventual. It's like the wave separates from the sea and returns to the sea. And our soul longs to separate, individualize, develop ourselves as a raindrop. And then when you've had enough, seen enough, done enough, heard enough, created enough, loved enough, cried enough, you just want to whoosh, Jupiter, Neptune. Let me go back to source, back to oneness. So these are the times I think we can see it playing out with different people. Different people are still doing the Saturn, third dimension material, trying to win those wars and conquer and control and dominate and, build up. Others have seen enough, done enough, they want to just let go. A tendency might be to escape, avoid, deny, and just kind of dissolve and, disappear into emptiness. That's not that's not the highest manifestation. Ideally, right, we return to that ocean of oneness in song and dance and joy and love. But these are the times, and all I can say is we see things as a polarity. When we're in the forest, we see the trees. But when we meditate, when we do our spiritual practice, when we open the third eye and the crown chakra, and we raise like a helicopter or like a UFO, we see these polarities like the planet Earth. And the farther away we move, we see how they complement each other, how they beautify each other, how they bring out the best in each other through their polarity. And that the plus and the minus and the yin and the yang fertilize each other and help diversify creation. And it's not seen as a war, and it's not seen as a polarity. It's just seen as another rock in the stream as we collectively return to the sea. This is all so temporary. So even enjoy the sorrow, enjoy the shadow, enjoy the tears, enjoy the midnight, right? The dark night of the soul, knowing that we come out of the tunnel and that midnight gives way to dawn. And that as we let go, something new is birthed and arises. And it's just this endless cycle of change that goes on. The eternal dance. So yeah, I've been feeling down. I've been feeling blocked. Saturn square the nodes, Mars, Saturn, everywhere you turn. There's this block, there's this stop. Don't go here, don't go there, don't say that, don't do that. There's not enough time. Time is a boundary, time is a limitation. Jupiter, Neptune wants to do it all. No sense of time, it's like a dream. Oh yeah, I can do this and this and this and this and this and this. and we can fill our plates, run out of time, get all kinds of pressure, get all kinds of stress, all kinds of deadlines. So we got to kind of do this teeter-totter. We got to do this breathe in and breathe out. We got to do the Jupiter expansion, the Saturn contraction, and just the main thing I would say is to keep the motion moving and not get stuck, behind like a leaf stuck on a branch or a rock, stuck in an eddy going around and around. Just keep flowing. Keep flowing. Feel all the feelings. Let new feelings come up. New people in your lives as old, relationships die off and move on. Knowing that we're held, that there is a flow, that there is a spirit world, that we have a soul, an unconscious pattern, design, intention. And the conscious ego doesn't always know what the soul is up to. So we get shocked and surprised, and the ego gets thrown around, but the soul is the flow. The soul is the flow. So, the song for this week is Let It Be. Let it be. When I find myself in times of sorrow, Mother Mary comes to me, speaking those words of wisdom, let it be. The other song I want to bring to you today is Snatamkar. It's a meditation, and it is Sa Ta Na Ma Sa Se So Hung. Birth, life, death, rebirth. Sa Ta Na Ma. Birth, life, death, rebirth. Birth, life, death, rebirth. Sa Se So Hung. I am one with thou. Join together with the flow of birth, life, death, rebirth, and be one with that flow. It's a beautiful mantra. You join with it. You focus on your third eyebrow. The vibration also helps you let go of all your thoughts, and you move into Jupiter, Neptune, with the Sa Ta Na Ma Ra Ma Da Sa Sa Se So Hung. I've been doing this one. It's the Gunpati meditation, but it dropped out the middle. Shortened it a little bit for the one I want to share with you today. It's easier for you to remember and go along with. Let's close with the mantra for today. And that is very simply, whenever I am in deep, dark sorrow due to death, war, loss, or grief, I remember that I'm but a drop of rainwater returning to the sea. Flow like the river. Flow like the river, returning to the sea. Big breaths, feel, release, let go. One more time, baby. Whenever I am in deep, dark sorrow, due to death, war, loss, or grief, I remember that I'm but a drop of rainwater returning to the sea. The sea is always there, waiting for us. Namaste. Aloha. so much love.